In August 1590, the English governor, John White, came to Roanoke Island, North Carolina, eager to greet his daughter, Eleanor Dare, and his granddaughter, Virginia, America's first English-born child. Instead, he found the colony deserted. More than 115 men, women, and children vanished. No bodies, no graves, no battle, and only this message. The letter CROATOAN carved on wood. Archaeologists and historians have diverged, debating for centuries, diverged, starved, massacred, or absorbed into native tribes. It is the enduring mystery of the lost colony. In March of 1584, Queen Elizabeth I granted Sir Walter Raleigh a charter to settle the New World. England desired to challenge Spanish dominance by creating a permanent settlement in North America. Philip Amadas and Arthur Barlow sailed along the coast of Carolina that summer and proposed Roanoke Island. In July of 1587, over 115 colonists crossed the Atlantic under the leadership of Governor John White to establish England's first attempt at a permanent colony. Among them was White's daughter, Eleanor Dare, who on August 18, 1587, gave birth to Virginia Dare, the first English child born on American soil. The settlers built dwellings, planted palisades, and planted crops. But supply was low, relations with neighboring tribes strained, and England was far away. Survival would soon be in the hands of choices beyond their control. Hostilities soon erupted. Earlier English expeditions had fallen foul of Algonquian tribes, leaving the new colonists exposed. Croatoan people, under Manteo, were still welcoming, but Secatan and Dasamongoponki were not. In August 1587, colonist George Howe was killed by natives while fishing. Hysteria swept through the colony. White, hungry, and in want of protection, depended on Manteo, who became Lord of Roanoke when baptized by the English. Provisions, however, soon came to an end. By September 1587, White made a decision that would ultimately be his downfall. He was returning to England to obtain reinforcements. In tears, he departed his daughter Eleanor, infant Virginia, and more than 100 colonists behind, swearing to return quickly. Fate had other plans. White landed in England in November 1587, but his expedition was unsuccessful. England expected invasion by King Philip II of Spain's Armada. Raleigh's finances were diverted, and Queen Elizabeth blocked ships from leaving. While his colony was struggling, White was stuck in England for 3 years. In 1588, the Spanish Armada launched, only to be wrecked by storms and English fireships. But even after the victory, White struggled to find backing. In May of 1590, he managed to get aboard a privateering expedition under Captain Abraham Cock, and none other than Captain John White himself. On August 18, 1590, the third birthday of Virginia Dare, White departed again for Roanoke. But what he was to find was emptiness. On August 18, 1590, White and his men reached Roanoke. The colony was eerily silent. Wooden houses had been dismantled, defensive fences leveled, tools scattered about, but no bodies were found. Then the most haunting discovery: the letters CROATOAN carved into a gatepost, the letters CARO carved into a tree. White believed this meant the colonists had moved to CROATOAN Island, present-day Hatteras, but his ships were blown out into the sea by storms before he could search. White sailed for England in tears. White never got to know his daughter, granddaughter, or colony. The mystery deepened. Some argue that the colonists perished in harsh winters, freezing to death in the wilderness. Some others suspected hostile natives decimated the colony, but discovery of English artifacts among Croatoan settlements points to assimilation with allies. Further reports by Jamestown settlers in 1607 indicated Europeans among natives. Another theory blames Spanish soldiers sailing from Florida, who might have clandestinely destroyed Roanoke. The lost bodies, however, continue to haunt. 4 centuries later, there isn't a single theory that's broken what became of the lost colony, leaving its disappearance one of history's greatest mysteries. Among the colonists lost, none achieved more mythological stature than Virginia Dare. The first English child born in the New World on August 18, 1587, her loss captivated England. Mythology claimed her in folklore. Some claimed she was brought up by CROATOANs. Others told of her having been transformed into a white doe by enchantment. By the 17th century, Virginia Dare was immortalized in poems and ballads as a symbol of innocence lost. In fact, she likely shared her colony's fate, but her name endured, a patriotic symbol of English perseverance in America. The Roanoke Lost Colony remains one of the greatest mysteries in history. On August 18, 1590, when John White arrived, 115 colonists vanished into thin air. No definitive evidence has appeared. Starvation, massacre, assimilation, or Spanish attack are all potential possibilities, but Roanoke left its mark. In spite of its defeat, it paved the way for Jamestown in 1607, the first English settlement in America. Today, the chilling word CROATOAN continues to resound through the centuries, a testament to loss, survival, and the fine line between hope and forgetfulness.